welcome to this loosening practice. And it's going to seem a little paradoxical because the word loosening often implies that we feel we'll be moving around, there'll be some very kind of obvious loosening activity going on. But this pose we're going to come to is called constructive rest position. It was designed, named in the 30s, and taken up more recently by Alexander technique, and is used more and more often through many yoga practices, other physical and somatic movement practices. And the reason it's become such an embedded part of a really mindful movement practice is that it accesses the psoas muscle. So this is this muscle that we have up from top of the inner thigh that attaches to the top of the legs and is the only muscle that attaches the lower and upper body together. So it's a muscle that we use to stand up, and as humans it is then asked to stand us up rather a lot, and we also hold a lot of our emotional stuff in here. So the loosening here is very much about allowing us to settle down into our body, to be attentive to what is often called the emotional muscle, where we might bury down our stresses, our unconscious conditionings, and allow them to just be, to feel through. So you may feel when we're lying here, it's a meditative still practice if you like, that you feel layers of stuff coming up, and that's absolutely fine. We're here to be safe, to be with that, and to hold a supportive space. It's a very, very good place to come to anytime we feel overwhelmed, because we can bring ourselves fully to the ground and feel grounded. That is our sense of our whole physical being, where it is in time and space right now. And that gives us a sense of safety. I'm going to lay down and do it with you as well. So there's a sense that there's, even though I'm a video right now as you're watching, that there is another being with you, and you can either feel that that is a real sense of being supported, or because it's a video, it allows you to very much just be with yourself, and it may be that you need that space and that sense of removal from the stimulus of the world. So I have a blanket placed under my head. I've got a bolster here. You don't necessarily need one, but I'm going to show you what it can do to have one. You can also have a belt. I'll show you where to put that. I'm not going to use one for this practice, but I'll show you where you can have one. And the more you do this practice, the more you can just realise that you feel that you need different things at different times. So we're going to be really responsive to our body needs, just not assuming that one size is the same for our needs at any given day. So we're going to roll down and just being really mindful of how you come to the ground, so that the blanket is placed where it will come to support the whole of the skull. And I'm placing the bolster here, and I'll show you where it can go. So it can be supportive for the legs. The feet, which are about hip width apart and placed feet, knee, hip, can feel a little bit more held in place if the balls of our feet on the bolster or similar stack of towels or blankets, and heels on the ground. It may be that it simply feels right for you to have your feet on the ground, so you can just play with that. And today I'm actually going to let the bolster drop down onto my feet here, which also feels quite supportive, because there's someone kindly just holding my feet, a sense of grounding. And then have a little movement through the body, get really comfortable. You can also have a blanket underneath you on the ground if that feels that's something you need, or even a very little lumbar support underneath if this pulls under your lower back. And if it feels when you get here that your legs want to just drop out to the side like that, then have a belt around here, about top third of your thigh. And then you can also use a scarf and just tie it, or something that just holds you in place. And then start to settle in. So I've come to place my hands onto my belly. You can take them out to the side. Particularly if you're coming here for the first time, just feel out the difference between what that might feel, not just in terms of physicality, but in terms of safety, in terms of where you want to be. I do want to bring my hands into my belly, just that sense of gathering in, weight of my hands onto my belly, feeling that reassurance of touch, a little drawing of the front body in towards myself, and then settling down. Just have a little movement of the toes, a little movement in the feet, really finding somewhere that you can feel all four corners of the feet dropping down onto the ground. So we want to find a space that we can drop down into without having to work the thighs to be here or pulling on the lower back. Now at any time it feels like either of those are true, you do have the option to walk your feet wide as the mat, turn your toes inward, so it's turned inward like that, and drop your knees towards each other. So you can do that any time during the practice. It feels like you just need to let go of any sense of effort, or your lower back starts to feel a bit pinched. Now settling down and in. So this grounding starts to allow us to really settle into the breath, particularly into the exhalation. Real sense of heaviness, palpable sense of heaviness with the exhalation. So we're not expecting the breath to be anything in particular. We are just noticing how we are at this moment. Letting each exhalation soften around the eyes. And allow space between the back teeth. So we're slackening the jaw away from the rest of the skull. The lower jaw drops down. So that any tension we might feel across the jaw, anything that holds our thoughts up into our head, we can start to let that melt, to soften, to dissipate with the exhalation. So you can notice any points where your body meets the ground, the skull, top of the back, back of the pelvis, maybe down to the tailbone, tops of the buttocks, feet, any parts of the arms, elbows, even the backs of your hands that might be on the floor. Breathing broadness with the exhalation to all of those points. So it's a very real sense of being here, of physically existing in the here and now. And it's that grounding that gives us a very true sense of safety. Even if we have tendencies to draw future, past times into the present, unconscious conditionings or projections of what could be, This real felt sense of our heaviness, our weight on the ground, gravity holding us to this part of the ground here and now. That allows us to get a real sense of what is here now. And right now, if you are lying on the ground, you are safe. So even if your mind brings up other stories, other interpretations, other ideas, we can simply drop into the breath and thank our busy brain for that style of self-protection. Right now we are practicing this grounding, this embodied awareness. And if you haven't already placed your hands on your belly, but it would feel helpful, you can just try placing your hands there now. You can even visualize that if that doesn't work for you physically. So that we can feel the fall and rise of the belly as we breathe. As we inhale, belly skin rises and opens, and we can meet that into the hands. And as we exhale, belly drops. There's a natural deflation, a dropping in. Buoyancy with the inhalation. Dropping heaviness with the exhalation. And all of this allowing us to feel what is here now, not to be a certain way, it's not to feel relaxed, to expect relaxation or release, but just to notice down this central channel, this area from psoas at the tops of the legs, through the belly, up into the diaphragm. Do feel free to just have a little stroke of this area like I'm doing to illustrate to you, but that can feel that also just brings our awareness there, it brings a soothing there. Recognizing this area where we can hold our stuff, our old stuff, the stuff we embed in, the conditionings that we learn as strategies, what we call samskaras in yoga. We tend to hold those in this area, and we may notice a feeling of those and we may not. Neither is right or wrong. But just bring our attention to that area and bringing kindness here. Noticing if we can drop beneath needing to know, needing to understand what it is that we may hold there. But to simply be with it. You may notice as we feel the breath rise in the belly, drop with the exhalation here. There's a natural wave that we have with the breath, a natural inhalation up the body, exhalation down. We have a rise with the inhalation and a drawing up at the same time. We have a dropping down with the exhalation in the belly and a dropping down towards the feet. So just letting those motions feel naturally, whatever you most drop into. Naturally, whatever feels that you can follow that as most soothing at this moment. And every so often just noticing to bring yourself back to softening around the eyes, to loosening the jaw. And if you do feel you need to move the face around, scrunch it up, even stick the tongue out, please do. If you feel anything's getting locked up in this area, as we release from down closer to the root, belly, the pelvis, the feet, then do move in any way that feels right to release anything locked in the upper body. So that might be jaw, might be a little bit through the shoulders, but just attending to what you need. And also if you feel you get a little heady, a little ungrounded at any time, just notice if you can feel your feet. So maybe that you just need to move the feet a little, wiggle the toes, even wiggle the hands with those. So real sense of where your hands and feet are. And that can help you bring back to a sense of grounding. If you tend to tune out, if you tend to feel dissociated, like you're not here in your body, and you can even just give yourself a little squeeze into the legs. If it feels like it helps you, place your hands anywhere in your body. Move your toes anywhere that just feels like it's a sense that I am physically here. I am safe. Just noticing the rhythm of your breath. So that is an anchor to come back to at any time. So we're going to drop into silence together now, so that you can really tune into your breath and your body, felt sense of where you are without judgment or criticism. So anything that arises for you is neither right nor wrong. It is just the experience that you have coming up to be shown because it has been given space. Notice if you need a reassuring gathering in with the inhalation and a releasing sigh out at any time. But just knowing at any time here, as we drop into silence, that you can move your hands around if you need. You can wiggle your toes, you can have that sense of being grounded and coming back to the breath. And you're not alone, I am here with you. So let's take a few deep inhalations and sighs out before we drop into silence together. Take a last few breaths here. So we will again sigh out anything that's come up, a sense that we may feel anything that's rising up from the central channel. Inhale in towards there. Exhale with a sigh. Anything that's risen up, ready to leave. Letting go of anything that you don't need, that doesn't serve you. Open your arms out to the side if they're into the body. And we'll just have a little movement side to side. Knees in one direction, head in the other. And then drawing each knee into the chest. You can take your time to do that. So it's movement around the hips, around the thighs. So drawing into this area that we've been given space to release. And when you're ready, rolling onto one side, whatever feels most safe. And when you're ready, coming up from the side, or you can follow on any practice from Constructive Rest. It's a very good foundational practice that you'll notice if you start to do often, that this release in this upper body means that when we start to move out from here, we've got more sense of pliability, of hydration from our centre to move out from. We can feel more connected from the inside, the centre, out to the periphery. And you can use that position as a base for meditation, particularly if you feel that sitting up is quite strenuous or creates any sense of strain. So I hope it's a practice that you can come back to over and over again. Thank you. Namaste.